Time to look at the latest in the newspapers and online. Good morning, Ben Achina Brentio and Malika Vazda.
Good morning. Good morning.
And how we all doing this morning?
Good.
Awesome.
We miss Raymond and anymore. Yeah, miss them.
I know they are listening.
Raymond said, "Good morning."
This song is also for Raymond. The inspirational song is also for Raymond.
Oh,
yes,
nice.
yes.
And he would have come doing his traditional dance.
Yes, both
the
of them
only dance he knows.
Raymond is a very good dancer, I'll have you know. Okay, let's do the front page. Just Gold Street Business, Malik.
Let's start with the Gold Street Business. Banks' interest spread continue to fall. Mobile network operators pay 1.94 billion tax in 2018. Government sets aside 1 billion for cash operations. Those are the stories on the front page of the Gold Street Business.
I have the finder. Reinstate 23 UEW staff. UCTA calls for investigation and resignation of Professor Afo-Broni. Also, GRA awards the Finder editor as best media personality on tax issues. We also have here ban riding of motorbikes after 10 p.m. to reduce crime, and it's coming from Titus Glover. We also have immigration border post in deplorable state.
The Daily Guide newspaper has Attorney General declines NDK 1.2 billion city soldiers fingered in illegal demolition. Parliament drops minister, approves 18, and Ghana Malta sign MOU. Takrady kidnapper shaves baby's hair. Those are the stories here.
We have the Chronicle. Parliament is not secure. This according to the majority leader, Osei Mensah Bonsu. And also the story just reviewed by Malik. Cry of baby betrayed suspect. GRA is not affiliate of any political party. And the last one, justice hurried is justice buried. And this coming from the Chief Justice.
The Herald newspaper, Akufo-Addo buys political opponent with $2 million supply contract and leaves MPP financiers hungry and bitter. MPP Government Communications Week and insult Drivinda Satiq Mohammed, General Secretary of the PNC. Bono Region Minister designate hanged over doctorate certificate, and Oforiata's expensive Kenke and Wache party renamed.
We have the Ghanaian Observer coming from our president. He says, we will maintain fiscal discipline. And also, OT resident bare feet at KMA boss. Tema police grab 8 robbers. And the last one, Baumia to engage stakeholders on the economy on April 3.
The Ghanaian Times newspaper has that Titus Glover story here as well. Banning Okada riding from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. to reduce crime. VIP urges ECOWAS countries to support CSOs. Aftermath of IMF program, we will maintain fiscal discipline. That's the president assuring. Back page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Meteors Panthers draw in Gabon. Stars trounced Mauritania. Government cautioned against using CSIR land for housing project.
Now we go to the New Crusading Guide, and we have here, we are bringing change into people's lives, and this is coming from the Honorable George Anda. We also have, we were paid to destroy Anas, Manasi Awuni, Umaru Sanda, Mabel Akubanasa, our next target, syndicate reveal. We also have
Mabel will crucify you for the way you mention. Mabel Akubanase.
Banase, okay. We are not against board and management, Toll Workers Union says. Then we also have Prince Kojo Hilton wins big at World Institute of Peace. And the last one, Ghana Links Unipass boss donates 2 incubators to hospital.
The Daily Graphic newspaper is the last paper I have. And the lead story on the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper, shortfalls in police-citizen ratio, ICT to the rescue, cameras deployed across country. But the most important story today, Daniel, is one on the front page of the Daily Graphic. Parliament passes RTI bill.
At long last.
Finally.
At
long last.
Let's do the Daily Statesman's front page.
Yes, the Daily Statesman is saying, when royalty get into the gutter, the law must drag it out. Then we also have firm focus on physical discipline. This also coming from our president. Then this one, the Church of Pentecost chairman slams greedy bastards. Apostle Nyamiche describes some politicals as hanger-ons and shameful.
Okay, that's also another story I want to hear about. But
Yeah.
let's begin with Parliament, Malik.
Yeah, so we are in Parliament, and finally, Information Minister and MP for Ofuasi Ayerebi Kojo Oppong Nkrumah moves a motion on the floor of the House yesterday for the third reading of the Right to Information Bill, a bill which was drafted in 1999. That's when it was drafted. It was reviewed in 2003, reviewed in 2005, reviewed in 2007, brought to Parliament in 2010, but only got passed yesterday. That's the Right to Information Bill. And this bill, as we know, is designed to help operationalize the citizens' constitutional right to information. And we know that in some instances, citizens had to go to court in order to enjoy that right. And if you remember the Citizen Ghana movement, some persons in that group had to go to court to get information relating to the bus branding, which dominated discussions in the 2015-2016. Now, this RTI law is to facilitate the enjoyment of this constitutional right. Of course, it's also designed to facilitate transparency and accountability in public affairs, because citizens can access information because the persons who manage that information for and on behalf of the citizens. So when the citizens want the information, they should have it. With RTI, if you want to know what a contract which was signed by a particular government or a particular minister or a particular sector, public institution, you should have access to that information. Of course, there are exemptions. There are exemptions because you can't have information which is designed, which may have implications for the state security and for public morality and all of that. You can't have access to that kind of information. Those are the exemptions. But the law has been passed. There was the last amendment that was done yesterday in fact, one of the amendments that were done recently was one related to when will this law be operationalized. And there was an agreement that it should be operational in the next financial year. There was a proposal for it to be done 12 months after the president has assented to it, which effectively makes it law. But the majority leader of HM is supposed to propose that it should rather be done in the next financial year. Of course, the minority opposed this. You have to remember that the minority attempted to pass it when they were a majority in 2016 after the election results were declared. The then minority, which is now majority, opposed it and said you had 8 years within which you could have passed it. You didn't pass it. You cannot, after you have lost election, now come and say you want to push it. But of course, the minority opposed this amendment to make it 1 year after the passage of the law. Nonetheless, they eventually agreed. So when the motion was moved by Kojo Oppong Nkrumah, it was seconded by a member of parliament for Tamale Central, who is also a ranking member on the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs.
And that's not the
Committee
only
of
thing
Parliament.
the minority opposed. Yesterday on the floor of Parliament, Mr. Haruna Idrisu brought two amendments. He made a point about two amendments that were really pushed by the media coalition. One of them is on clause 13. You were talking about exemptions, Malik, and one of these exemptions is here in clause 13, that info is exempt from the disclosure when the disclosure will reveal an opinion or advice, a recommendation, consultation or deliberation, and the information is made to public institution and is likely to undermine the deliberative process in that public institution. This has been interpreted to mean that if, for instance, government plans on entering into a contract with, say, Achena Brentio, and that contract has not been fully consummated because it's in a deliberative process.
Okay.
Even if we suspect that there are some underhand dealings in there, we cannot demand for that information until it has reached its conclusion.
Been consummated.
Yes. We will get Ethan Koma, Samson Ladia Yenini, and Ben Abdallah. Ben Abdallah is the chairman of the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee of Parliament, to explain these nuances a bit better for us and for us to understand. There's also something about the LI to operationalize it. Remember, when the special prosecutor law was passed, it took a while for the LI to be operationalized. And so we also need to ask those questions so that, yes, we have the law, but we need to use it and use it effectively.
And one last point about the amendment I was talking about, which was made yesterday. This was an amendment which moved the implementation from the Justice Ministry to the Information Ministry.
Yes.
Yeah, Daniel, just on the point you made, we call something criminal attempt or preparation to commit crime. So from what you're saying, does it mean that if I suspect that crime is in the process of being committed, I have to wait until it is fully committed. In other words, we've committed ourselves to law before we can seek redress. Is it not going to be too expensive in the long run?
How about
because once contracts are signed, then of course parties are bound to it.
How about we leave that question for the lawyers to deliberate when we get
okay, then let me add
discussion
two more
itself.
questions, because then I am also very much concerned about what Malik said. What will be the scope and what will be the limit? What are the accesses I can get and what are the exemptions I am precluded to? And the last one is, at what cost are we going to have freedom to information bill? Is it going to be at the expense of our national security, or is it going to be at a cost to the taxpayer? Because of course we've just been told how much it's going to cost for this law to be implemented. Do we have that much?
Well, speaking of national security, Osei Minister Bonsu Achina has been saying that
Exactly.
Parliament is not secure.
Yes, that was he was speaking on the back of the New Zealand shooting, and he's saying that when people come to the Parliament House, they are not screened, they are not vetted in any way, they just come to the gallery to witness proceedings. And he's also observed that during the weekend, people take leave to use the facility of Parliament, specifically its forecourt, for funeral and other social engagement. He believes that it is about time stringent measures were put in place to secure the premises of Parliament and persons who are parliamentarians, to make sure that what happened in New Zealand is not replicated on our parliamentarian. I think this is all well and good. People enter public facilities and nothing at all is done to ensure that they are carrying bombs or they can detonate anything. And I think that is a wake-up call for all of us to examine our security.
Security in Parliament, security outside of Parliament,
Sure.
but we don't have enough police officers, Malik.
Yes, we don't have enough police officers. According to the United Nations police-citizens ratio, the police-citizens ratio, according to the UN, is 1 to 500. In Ghana, the police-citizen ratio is 1 to 900. That's almost double the number as required by the United Nations. Now, how is the police service in Ghana dealing with this shortfall? The IGP says that they have institutionalized a system which he calls managing crime with technology. And what have they done in respect of this? They've installed 1,000 cameras across the country with centers which are responsible for managing these cameras and this system in specific areas. So they have a center in Kumasi, they have one in Tamale, they have one in Accra. Now the one in Tamale has areas, the Bono region, Upper West, Upper East, Northern, those areas. The one in Ashanti deals with Bono, BA, Ashanti region. The one in Tamale deals with Tamale, Savannah, Upper West, Upper East, Northeast, those regions. And the one in Accra deals with Greater Accra, Central, Western, Volta, Eastern regions, and all of these centers are designed to. These are control centers that take care of specific areas. These cameras have been installed also in specific areas, which they call digitization of police information system. That's what they have done. So, according to the Daily Graphic, and this is a story which was reported by the Albert Saleh, deputy editor at the Daily Graphic, when they went to the center in Accra yesterday, the police, at the push of a button, could immediately move to the Tamale area, which would also zoom into Yendi, and they could see activities going on in Yendi and whatever that is going on there. The IGP says Ghanaians should know that they are being watched by the police. There's a second phase of this which is coming, and people are going to be able to send texts to the police, and then the police can collate those texts, and the police can tell the locations of these texts, and the police can move in there if people need help in terms of combating crime and all of that.
Does it say when we are going to have the rollout of the system?
No, this system is already rolled out.
I was talking about the addition of the text system.
In the next 2 months.
In the next 2 months, we are going to have the addition of the text system.
There's the phase 2, which is what they call it, the Alpha 2 or something. Yeah.
Okay.
Alpha 2.
Right. Thanks, Malik. And speaking of security, at China, unlocking students' problems, violence has become a way that some students are dealing with their grievances.
Exactly. In an opinion by Buama Samson, writing for The Statesman, he recounted the impasse on the UEW campus and also that of the recent one at the KNUST campus, in which a lot of property were destroyed, apparently because students were not seeing eye to eye on the university with actions of the university authority. In the case of the Winneba University, we know it was about the dismissal of some senior members, and also with the KNUST one, we also know that it was about some brutalities alleged to have been meted out to students by the school's security. He is saying that when these distractions happen or when this violence come, even though it doesn't seem to resolve anything, it leaves all of us with a lot of cost that ultimately we have to shoulder. He is saying that it's about time the university give listening ear to students when they speak, because university students are not exactly minors. They have voice, and those voices must be heard. So basically that is the opinion he's preferring.
We stay in the university community because there's some resolution for the UEW situation. At least UTAG is calling for that.
Yeah, not exactly a resolution. Actually, I would say they are rather deepening what is going on, because they are calling for the dismissal of the Vice Chancellor. They are also calling for the resignation of the Vice Chancellor, and they are also calling for the dismissal of the Governing Council Chairman. According to them, the 23 staff who were apparently dismissed by the Professor Anthony Afro-Broni-led council must immediately be reinstated, because they feel that he is vindictive and not somebody who can reconcile the student body. They are also calling for the special prosecutor and the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice to actually move in and investigate these top-ranking officials of this university over allegations of corruption and other malpractices going on the campus.
Thanks, Achena. Let's move from university and security issues going on there. Malik, Okada riding should be banned.
Yes, so Titus Glover, who is the deputy minister for transport, is advocating the ban on Okada operations from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. And he's essentially saying that this is absolutely necessary to deal with the rampant crimes that are being committed by persons riding motorbikes. And we know, in many instances, last year we had this report about, in fact, not even last year, in the last how many years, we have had reports about motor riders who confiscate people's mobile phones, attack vendors, mobile money vendors and SIM card vendors and all of that. In order to deal with this, his proposal is that ban the use of motorbikes around this time, because it's usually around that time that these crimes are committed, and the figures show that. So if you ban them, people won't have access to motorbikes in order to use them to commit the crimes which have become quite rampant. Now, fundamental question, if you look at the LI, the road traffic regulations, LI, let me look for it. This LI bans the operation of Okada entirely.
Exactly.
Regulation 128 bans the operation of Okada. If now the proposal is ban it for only specific period, are we suggesting that we have permitted, or we are permitting the use of Okada, and except for some time, the times that we believe it is used for criminal purposes, or we are sticking to the law? Remember that he's a legislator and he was in parliament at the time. You note that he was called MP3 because he won his Tema East constituency by just 3 votes in the 2012 election. So he was called MP3. He was in parliament when this LI went through parliament and became law. Now, this LI says that persons shall not use motorbikes for commercial purposes, regulation 128. Now, he's not talking about the enforcement of this law. He's talking about a new regulation which will say, well, we know that there exists a law which bans your operation, but we want to hold that law in abeyance and allow you to operate save for the period of 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. because within that time, crimes are committed with your motorbikes. Of course, yesterday on News 9, we spoke to some of the Okada operators. There was a divided opinion on this. Some agreed with him, with the proposal, because they themselves recognize that people use motorbikes to commit crimes. Some said that, well, sometimes depending on the nature of traffic within that period, there is still business for them, and so they don't agree with the time.
But is that to suggest that crimes on motorcycles happen only at night?
I mean, largely, if you look at the reported cases, it's usually at night.
The second question, really, it was a rhetoric, but the second question would be that how do you then detect that this is a commercial motor rider?
Exactly.
And I think the ban then will be blanket on all motorbikes. You have to remember that sometimes even for security situations in Yendi and Bokwe and other places, when there is a conflagration going on, what the security authorities do is to ban the use of motorbikes within specific
if the ban
areas.
is on all motorbikes, then it does not really affect LI 2180, which it makes commercial motorcycles illegal. That's
the point I'm making is because he used Okada. That's why I'm making reference to the LI.
Well, so I mean, there are lots more deliberations that are going on, and May Obriaba was on the show on Monday, the head of the National Road Safety Commission, and she did indicate that they are beginning more of a national dialogue on the future of the Okada industry in Ghana. Are they going to regulate it, or they are going to make it illegal and enforce the law? So it's something that we need to look at.
Just a small one on that. The Okada business has actually been premised on the human interest angle of providing jobs and also facilitating transportation. I personally think that we need to find decent jobs for our people. Okada certainly is not the way out. It is too risky. It is not worth the sacrifice, and we do not have to entertain it. And for those who patronize it, they should be aware. You may get to your meeting or appointment on time, but at the cost of your life. Just one mistake, you can lose it all.
It is the reason some say regulate their operations in a manner which reduces the risk that
and it will make it safer for us all.
So, for example, assuming you regulate it, are you going to have it fend so that the exposed parts of it? Because at the end of the day, when you are sitting on Okada, you are virtually exposed to the vigors of the environment. You are exposed to everything, the speed and all of that.
But you see,
so are you going to put some cabin around it so that it looks like a
My question is, the same can be said about any private motorcycle rider and anybody who has a passenger or a pylon rider on his motorbike. Okay. So it's a conversation that is much more nuanced than Okada on its own. But guys, we need to go online now, and the online news review is brought to you by Zenith Bank, in your best interest, and Goyle Good Energy. Now, the Zenith Health Walk is back again. It's happening on Saturday, March 30, 2019, at the Zenith Bank head office located on the Independence Avenue. Time is 6 a.m. prompt. Don't be left out. Join customers and staff of Zenith Bank for a good dose of exercise and lots of fun. Remember, it's the Zenith Health Walk happening at 6 a.m. prompt on Saturday, March 30, 2019, as the Zenith Bank head office. Save the date. See you there. Goyle, your multiple CIMG award winner and #1 OMC, salutes all Ghanaians as we celebrate our proud history and heritage. Your freedom comes with choosing Goyle, so continue to patronize our quality fuel, superior lubricants, reliable gas supplies, and other trusted services, and you will feel the good energy. Together with you, our customers, we have supported the nation, and together with you, we will continue the partnership to grow our economy. Be a patriot every day. Buy Goyle. Let's grow Ghana. Goyle, good energy. Goyle, Yenara, Yedia. MyJoyOnline.com says it's a terrorist act. $1,000 reward for info on hackers of Tema Pylon. Energy expert Kojo Poko has announced $1,000. That's a 5,084 Ghana cedi by that exchange rate reward for any person who provides police with credible information that leads to the arrest of the person or group that hacked a major transmission tower in Tema. That's the same transmission tower that the Energy Minister John Peter Mawu suspects was hacked by political operatives, right?
Yeah.
Yes. AdamOnline.com has an audio of drivers saying bad roads are destroying their marriages. Interesting. These are taxi drivers who ply the Kaswa Gumwa Nyanyano Road in the Gumwa East District of the Central Region, who say that they are unable to satisfy their wives due to the pain suffered in their waist when they ply the roads. You want to listen to that? I can't believe it. It's on AdamOnline.com.
In fact, my road, the road in my area actually qualifies. the Lekma Hospital Road.
Interesting.
Qualifies.
The BBC.com has this story of girls who defaced the Burundi president's photo have been freed. Girls who defaced Burundi's president's photos freed. That's the caption. And there were 3 schoolgirls who were detained for allegedly scribbling on President Pierre Nkurunziza's picture in textbooks. And the Justice Minister, Amy Laurentine Kanyana, has said that they have been freed. They were detained 2 weeks ago. There was a whole Twitter campaign with the hashtag #FreeOurGirls as a result. Interesting news coming in there from Burundi. You're still live on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. We have a lot more for you after this.